Welcome to flag. So flag is found on page 185 and 186. Guys, make sure you're checking in on Canvas. So after we've done all of the book steps, the book lessons, page 11 through 165, we are now in the skills review part to do the flag on page 185 and 186. And then I want you guys to manipulate the flag and make it unique and make it look like yours. Here's the deal, guys. This is skills review. So your book does not tell you how to do exactly what you're supposed to do. So it's expecting that you know how to do certain things and that you know the difference between certain things. So you might get a little frustrated and say, hey, my book's not telling me how to do this. How do I do this? Well, it's expecting that you've already done what it's asking you to do. So let's go to Illustrator. And we can go ahead and X out of that because it's finished. We're going to start by creating the new document. So we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to change the width to 6 inches, and we're going to change the height to 4 inches, and the title of your work should be Flag. Okay, so select inches for the type of units. So we already did that. It says inches. Okay. 1 for the numbers of artboards, which it says 1. CMYK for the color. The color mode is CMYK. If you want to, we can click on here and you guys can see that the color mode here is CMYK. And then we're going to go ahead and hit create. All right, you can save this to your H drive. I'm going to save mine to my desktop. Okay, so I'm going to start by moving my color tab over just a little bit so I can see my artboard better. You can move it over if you want, get a little better vision. You can double click on your hand tool so you can see it at full screen. And we are on number 5. It says create a circle at the center of your artboard. I'm going to press and hold Shift to make a perfect circle and then click with my mouse button and then just create that circle. Okay. Create a circle at the center of your artboard. Number 6 says click on your selection tool. Select the fill, set the fill and stroke buttons at the top of the panel to black and none. So our fill should be black. You can click here, you can click here, wherever it is that you feel like you want to change that color. And then the stroke should be none. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is going to create a rectangle that's 3 by 1. Our book doesn't tell us how to do that. You should know. Click that rectangle tool. If you click once on your artboard, you can make the dimensions what you want them to be. So your width should be 3 inches and your height should be 1 inch. And hit OK. Okay, show the swatch panel if necessary. We don't need to because we have our showing. Fill the rectangle with a light yellow. So that means we need to come over here and make sure our fill is what is active and forward. And we're going to find a nice light yellow that we like. This one over here is a little lighter than the one that's on top. Click View on the menu bar and verify that Smart Guides are active. So mine are not active, so I'm going to go ahead and click to make sure they're active. Move the rectangle so that its top left anchor point intersects with the top left anchor point of the artboard. So I'm going to click on my regular selection tool and click and move that rectangle. I'm holding the mouse button down as I move it over. Click the top left anchor point, press and hold Shift Alt and drag straight down until the top left anchor point touches the bottom left anchor point. the Intersect Smart Guide appears, and then release the mouse button. So your book tells you to hit Shift and Alt. I found that the easiest way to do this is if we just hit Alt. So I'm going to make sure that this square is selected, which I've accidentally moved it. Okay, and then I'm going to press and hold Alt, and then click on that square and move it straight down, and then let go of the mouse button and let go of Alt. And your book wants you to have copies of those yellow rectangles. Okay. Then we're going to point to Object on the menu bar, point to Transform, and then Transform again. And we have another rectangle, and then repeat the step again one more time. Object, and then Transform, and Transform again. All right. Change the fill color of the second and fourth to a darker yellow. So computer keeps wanting to accidentally grab these. Okay, so I have that selected, and I'm going to choose a darker yellow, which we can choose this color. Let's see what we have in our swatches. That's fine. And we're going to click on this one. I accidentally just went to a different layout mode. Okay, and then we're going to choose a darker yellow. Let's make this even more different by coming over here and doing like a yellow orange. There we go. Okay. Let's figure out where I was here. So make sure you save your work. I'm going to go to File, Save. We're going to select all four of these rectangles. So press and hold Shift and then go through, and we are selecting all four rectangles. Double click the Reflect tool. Click the horizontal option button and then click Copy. The four rectangles are copied on top of the original rectangles. Move the new four rectangles to the right so that they align with the right side of the artboard. I'm going to go back and click on your selection tool and then move those right over to the right. Okay, so let's go to our rectangle tool and click on your rectangle tool, and then click once on the artboard to create a new rectangle. This new rectangle should be 0.75 by 0.75. And hit OK. Apply a 1-point black stroke. So click on your stroke, make it black, and give it 1 point, which it already has 1 point. And the fill should be none. Okay. Click the selection tool. Click the edge of the square and then position at the center of the artboard. Use the rotate dialog box to copy the square at a rotated 10%. So we're going to click on our rotation tool. Okay, double click that rotation tool, and we're going to type 10. And then you have to make sure you hit copy. Okay, and then we're going to apply the transform again command 7 times. If you don't remember what that command is, that shortcut key command, we can go to Object, Transform, Transform again. We see it's Control D. So then we need to go enough times until we fill that up. Try not to repeat. So once you know you've completely filled in those shapes, don't repeat it. Okay? And then save your work. Okay, so we're moving on to the next page. Shift click to select all of the black squares. So let's blow up on this a little bit so you can see it better. And then we'll click on your selection tool, press and hold shift, and then go around. You want to make sure that the only thing you are selecting are your black squares. Only select the ones that are not selected, because if you go back and click on these, it'll deselect them. Okay, go to Object on the menu bar and then go to Group. So they're now all selected together. Scale the group of squares to 200%. So we have to go to our scale tool, double click it. We want it to be uniform. We're going to type 200 and hit OK. Let's double click on our hand tool to check it out, make sure it looks okay, which it does. Okay, so now we're going to go back and create a 3.75 by 3.75 circle. So click on the ellipse tool and then click on your artboard, and we want to type 3.75, 3.75 by 3.75. Hit OK. Fill it with orange. So our fill is forward. And because I already have orange on here, I'm going to click on a reddish orange, which is okay. It looks a little bit different from the book, but no big deal. You're going to change it anyways. And then you want to make sure you have a 1 point black stroke. Here's your stroke. It's black already and it's 1 point, so that's good. Cut the circle from the artboard. So we're going to go to Edit, Cut. Okay, cut the circle from the artboard, then click the group of black squares. So you want to click on your selection tool and click that group of black squares. Then click Edit on the menu bar and then paste in back. So now our circle's behind our squares. Adjust the location of the circle if needed, which mine is definitely needed. And see that center point? See how I can align it up to the middle of the flag and let go? Click Object on the menu bar, point to Path, and then we're going to go down to Add Anchor Points. Okay. Deselect the circle by clicking anywhere on the artboard. Click the Direct Selection tool. Okay. Then click the edge of the circle. One at a time, move each of the 4 new anchor points to the center of the circle. So click and hold with your mouse button and drag the 4 new anchor points back to that original center. Click and drag. Okay. Deselect, deselect. I'm going to click out my scratch area to deselect everything. Okay, so now we're going to click on our regular selection tool, select that circle, and then double click your rotation tool. And we're going to type 22 and copy. Then we're going to go to Object, Transform, Transform again. One more time. Object, Transform, and Transform again. So now you have it. What I would like for you guys to do next is I want you to try and apply gradients. I want you to move things around, change the color. You can add patterns, play with the different objects that Illustrator has to offer, and turn it in.